My friends were 2006. The whole world in this way. Vegan and interaction and certification. He was in a new position. Then he will be full of knowledge and wisdom. We touched the ground and touched the entrance, the moon, and the deepest parts of the moon. Black hole discovery. But our journey was still in full swing, because we have been around for centuries. It is in spin and spin. It means getting here. It is not just another mission, but a new world. And we call it the Red Riding Hood. Then, the heavens and the earth shall be filled with water. -125 degrees Celsius due to eccentricities. And then they were made from the roots of the roots. So let's take you 22 million kilometers from the ground. Then, on the red carpet, which no one has ever heard. Russian Space Agency to fulfill the same mission. Universal Space Missions took a step forward. For the first time in Athens. 3 of the best astronauts, Dr. Willem, Dr. Mark, and mission expert Gina, were sent to the planet Tuesday. They're Irish. Then he asked, what can a man do? Could Tuesday be a new one? The eyes of the whole world were on them. With every vibration, and the hearts of the thousands were soaring. No one knew what they were going to do next. Will they return? Or one of their names, and they will be recorded. About 22 million kilometers long from the ground. 3 of them had gone on a journey. They knew that it was not easy. Then they will have 5 to 6 months. I had to cross the river, and then go somewhere. Then the red light will appear before their eyes. So they took everything with them, which could have served them well, such as oxygen supply, generating giant device. He taught for months, packed food, solar panels and batteries for the center, drinking water, medical kit member, high shelter and shutter essential vegan rail rocket. And then he left the trail behind. And they were just in front of them. The stars and the stars. It wasn't a straightforward journey. It was the worst of mankind. They talk among themselves. The whole thing was discussed. Those who will be there. They spoke to the priests and the priests to keep the atmosphere light during the long run. They make fun of each other. And he laughed. I will grow there, and I will grow a lot of vegetables. And they tell old stories and laugh at them. When they were about 8 miles from the ground. And then, in front of them, they had something, but they only saw it. Then there are the rocks in the sky, with colors and unique shapes. Then, as if he had broken his arms, and spread things far and wide. Those who have never seen the human eye. Every time there is something new and new. And their love grew. All of them have their eyes and eyes on them. They were created on Tuesday. But they didn't know it was coming. And how great was it for them and for them? They were doing everything right. Then they ate, and they ate. Their eyes are on every side. Because they knew they were now in a completely different world, where they always make a mistake. It can be sent to the dark. And then he became a lightning rod. Then they came near. Who were Getty's interns? And with every rocket vibration, their beats were swift. It was 160 days, and they had a lot of room. The interstellar systems were constantly beeping. The target appeared on the screen. The 3 of them were very excited. There was a strange panic in their hearts. Every bridge was realizing that they were facing it now. It will come from the world, which they only dreamed about. Then he turned his eyes towards them. They waited patiently. And then they showed him a little bit of the light. And for a bridge, they did not believe in their eyes. After a long and difficult journey, And now they are in front of him. The surface was, which humans can only see through pictures and telescopes. Then they saw the sight in their hearts. He said, "It's hot and heavy." The three looked at each other. The eyes were warm and happy. Then he smiled and said, "We've done it." They finally got their spacecraft off the ground on Tuesday. Landed all the time. As soon as the intersection touches the surface of Tuesday, then they fly from their wheels. The people were surprised to see it. Only the wind was blowing. And then there is a strange thing. She felt the hearing. He sat in the spacecraft first. Then he started the whole process. They decided where to put their first shift. Must be prepared. Which country will the researchers run? Which ones will be tested first? Everything was thoughtful. Every step of the way was to satisfy their hunger. And then the first time they did it on Tuesday. Keep your foot on the ground. As their feet touched the dry ground. Believe it or not, red earth spread around, silent and unknown. The sky and the mountains, they seemed to stand. Like they got into some other crispy. It's a romantic way of life. I never felt it before, and they were light-hearted about their evil deeds. As if their weight had suddenly halved. Every step seemed to be on the ground. I walk in a world of dreams. Then they went a longer distance. Actually, Tuesday customer traction. It is about 3 times lower than the average. That's why every step of them, everything was easier and easier. This feeling is completely new to them. It was magic and magic. They took care of the surrounding area and found a place where their pressure was low. The earth was also sunny. And then the 3 of them came together. They built a strong shaft. Everyone had their own land. There was no structure. There was no one to beat and no one to beat. It wasn't just a shit. Thus, it was the beginning of man's new home. Then the people came together in separate ways. And they started their own cars. Someone sampled the soil. Start to collect. Then someone came around to measure the humidity and the sunshine. Because of the day. At that time it was about 17 degrees Celsius. Which made them feel uncomfortable. But they knew it well. Not always so kind. In many places heat falls to minus 20 degrees Celsius. And by night, on Tuesday, the atmosphere changes to a cool wind. Snow-like surfaces and snowflakes. All of them were looking forward to it. They searched all day long. Jenna, who was a mission expert, they are deeply rooted. What did you find and the effect of Tuesday night's frost and humidity? The whole day is on the surface. It meant that they were their own. And then the lights and the lights and the lights. Then there is the count of others. He must keep it. The forehand. And then he gathered them together. These samples were to find out. Then, on the ground and on Tuesday, how many of them are there, and how many are there? Then they will be able to send them on a Tuesday. Needed knowledge. And Mark gathered small pieces of rock around it. Then they were able to find out about it. These are the stones. Or are they part of an asteroid? Or something else? Then they will be able to bring them back to life. Research will be done. As the evening went on, Thursday, they began to show their light. Then, in the midst of the wind, they became truthful. The shelter is to return. Jenna with Mike. He said, the whole unit is falling back into its shutter. As William and Mark heard the voice on the mic, then they turned their backs on him. After returning to shelter, they have their collected research materials from the cabin. I put it afterwards. The next day, they discussed it. He said, we're going to have to go with it. So that the water is better known. There may be water in some places. And we need to find it. The next day, the people went out on their own again. In the beginning, there was everything. Just a few hours. There was a huge dust storm on Tuesday. Friends, if you like this story, please subscribe to the channel and definitely like this video. Now go back to the story. And Mark and Jenna somehow hiding under a large rock to save your life. But then he opened the door and gathered it. Which is why. Then the wind blew him away. In this chaos, their simpering was completely broken from the vellum. About 2 hours after the storm, Jenna repeatedly tried to snap from the communication device. But there was no sign of William. Then he spoke to Mark and said, "I'm fine, but I don't know anything about William." Then there was a new and strange place in front of them. He made them a squirrel. Which country and how? William is lost. Friends, let me tell you about Tuesday. They also speak. Then they will go to the story. Number 1, if any time wait. Then there is the 32nd time on Tuesday. It will only be about 23. This is because on Tuesday, it was about 34. Where there are 9, 8. Then, on Tuesday, there were 7. Number 2 in the winter on Tuesday. Jim likes snow. Then, in the summer, the water is boiled. It seems to show up in taro. This is the seasonal change on Tuesday. May and veggie make it even more interesting. The third night is very cold. Many times, heat falls to -125 degrees Celsius. Any human technology or it could be a great choice for John. Number 4. On Tuesday, the sunrise appears blue while on the periphery. The sun is red. The difference is Tuesday. The dust in the mantle and its fine-grained corners. He seems to be like a rainbow. Chant thrice. The heart and the heart. Friends go to their story. For a long time, Jenna and Mark searched for William in every 10th, but they found no trace. She knew the storm. The sod was faster than Hornrup, and due to Tuesday's low gravity, it was almost impossible to guess. How far will it go? Everything was growing with them. And then he turned into a lightning bolt. Then the evening came, and then the morning came again. With tired feet and frustrated faces, they both returned and returned. There was a deep cushion in their hearts. I wish I could find out somehow. Then, with heavy hearts and hearts, they went into the shelter, where he was scared before. Jenna told the entire mission control on the ground. All the news on Earth. Vegans plunged into deep sadness. But Jenna didn't dare. He said in a dreadful voice, "We will continue our research. They will also seek out our. It is also necessary. And they will fulfill their mission along with it." Shortly afterwards, the head of the mission arrived. "We are all warm to you. Believe what you are doing. He will live forever." 7 days after seeing them, Jenna and Mark during this time, and then he searched for them, and then he searched for them. They even filtered Jimmy Snow on Tuesday night. He also prepared water. Maybe they're on the ground. Stones and tall pits appeared. Those who seemed. There was something there before. But there was one mixture between the two of them. I wish I got Valium. And he knew that he had 7 days to live. It was almost assembly. The sound was in his ears. What William said in spacecraft. "I will grow there." Jenna's eyes were wet. But he couldn't do anything he wanted. In the heart. Then he was overwhelmed with fear and anger. Their search was complete, and they preparing to return. Mark asked, "We have created what we have created." Jenna smiled. "No, it will not. There was still hope in me." But he couldn't say anything. And then, as the morning dawns, the sun begins to shine. Then the people left their spacecraft. Last seen on Tuesday. Because He knew that he was forever on his side. He said heavy-handed, "Willie forgives us. We could not take you with us." Then suddenly there was a sound on their microphone. "Hi Jenna, Mark, I'm Willem. I am alive, please answer. Someone is listening. I'm alive." But both of them took out the microphone. They did not hear anything. The signal was weakened, and their spacecraft went a long way from Tuesday. He looked at the sky and saw it. He thought his team might come back. Perhaps they will return to their homeland. But even after sitting on this deserted level for hours, he saw no hope. Only cool winds, the little stars in the sky and the little ones in the sky. The whole world is watching him. You will not answer. And it was all around the valley. The one who listens to the heart. And he looked at the sky. Am I really alone on this Tuesday? Will I ever see the land? He thought about it all and wept. It's like you're breaking inside. He lay on the ground for hours. Then he made a promise to himself. As long as I breathe, whatever it is, I will try to live. Thus began a man-made war. For your breath and hopes. On Tuesday, the cold winds hit his suit. William is now completely alone, for and only red soil. There were rocks and dust in the sky. And then he grows his 20. Dust was frozen on the solar panels. The communication device was not working, and he had 230 days of oxygen and 3 boxes of food. He writes in his diary. Then, by night, once again it drops to minus 30 degrees Celsius. William sat in a corner and turned off his flashlight, so that the battery remains. The sound of cold air coming from outside. It sounded like a deep scream. Then in the morning he went out of his house. The season is not light. Light ink Valium's solar panel cleans. And then the packed food. And trying to catch the radio signal. He looked at the sky and saw it many times. Sometimes he sees a little boat. The place where his house is. It is the life and the life. And his eyes are filled with tears, and he speaks to himself. No, I can't give up. He went to his suit. He shakes off the dust and repairs his shirt. Because he was the last one. Jenna left with a hope that if he survives, then he will survive. Valium Tuesday moves to the surface of the planet. The tools broken between the red dust. The fallen solar plates and old footprints were still there. Those who saw him thought, Jenna and Mark will still be there. He looked at all 4 of them. Never looked behind a rock. Sometimes I see the high mountains. He speaks on his radio again and again. Mark, can you hear me? The only answer is to listen. Just the sound of cool winds, which made him feel that he was truly alone. He sits on the ground. The eyes are closed and deep. It feels like it's still in the air. Jenna's voice is ringing. Then he returns to his shelter. His feet were tired, but there was still a glimmer of hope in my eyes. When they came in, they found everything. Start to make old broken acorn wire pieces. Half of the solar panel, and an old communication transmitter, which has been in vain for many days. He knew if he was alive, stay on the ground anyway. He will create all of them. The tool has a place, and open the old data recorder and its head. He checks, for a few hours. And then he sits there, exhausted, seeing. Then he went on a journey of 40 days. Now, he was part of the red fields. Every morning, he got up and went out alone. He spent hours researching. Sometimes on top of sand dunes. Sometimes in fields filled with stones. Wherever I was, there was only one. He sometimes jumps in the low gravity of Tuesday. He smiled and smiled. He remembered the day Jenna and Mark landed on Tuesday for the first time. And the three of them were like that. They were drinking with each other. The laughter was still in his ears. He looked up at the sky and saw it. "Why are you not waiting for us?" And they say. Every day he was inside, trying to smile, except for the eyes of the blind. The mission notes stuck on Schulter's walls were now fading. Then, in the helmet of the table, his weary face was reflected. Every night he writes in his diary, "Day 45 is still alive." One day I was in the shelter. I was tired, but my mind was still hopeful. He began to think about his old communication system. Neither Mary nor Mary will ever be far away, at least on Tuesday. It takes 7 to 8 months. It has not been 2 months. His heart beat loudly. If I get the signal right somehow, or maybe I'll send a little one. Perhaps they will realize that I am alive. Friends, if you like this story, subscribe to Crypto channel, and definitely like this video.